Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much, Kristen, for starting the whiteboard. So at this time right now, we are going to have a conversation and we would love to hear from you all. Please make sure to raise your hand and we will unmute you in order to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts, provide comments during this period. And just a friendly reminder, let's please watch our language to make sure there are no curse words that is not appropriate at this time. We thank you in advance for participating. Okay, so the purpose, as shared, of the prompt is to gather feedback on the social equity program. And there's just a few questions just to gather, just to start the conversation between us all. And so in the future, DCR will be releasing programming for social equity applicants. So do folks have feedback on other eligibility criteria that should be considered or included? What should be included? Who should be included as a potential social equity applicant? Okay, we have Lauren T. We will unmute you. Thank you. Oh, Lauren, we're trying to unmute you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I'm double clicking. Okay. I think my comment or kind of question is like about what my comment was during the comment period during the stakeholders portion of this meeting. And originally, I see that you guys expanded out what the criteria is for individuals, but it still seems to me like I'm just not sure what your, do you have somewhere where the methodology of like what you did somewhere? Because when I originally read the report that was used to come up with the criteria originally, it seems like the mathematics of it was just wrong, because hence why they probably only picked one precinct instead of before it was like areas were getting double counted. And so it was getting double counted, and which made the results in a way that made it certain areas just not eligible, even though they were blatantly like affected by the process. And also, did they change the logic of when they wanted to exclude certain areas? So I know they excluded some zip codes just because they're like, oh, the people there are transient because they're probably there's a lot of hotels there. But what it did do is include people who lived in apartments or with low income in that area. And or also by USC, like a whole slew of people that were just disqualified because of the assumptions that were made by the people who created the criteria. And I'm just wondering, is that also being updated? Is like, where can I see where they're currently using the raw data? That's because I like to see like the actual data that people use and see how they come up with the methodology, because then that would tell you like where they're coming from and if it's right. Like, that's why I knew this for the jump wasn't right. Just like I saw they were double counting areas. I was like, how, you can't double count and then not factor that in when you come up with your numbers. Like, that doesn't work that way. And so, yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. I just want to know like where they come up with where's the methodology currently, what they're using, and then where can I find that? Because that's the only way I can really probably get more of a comment. But yeah, So.
Thank you so much for your comment, Lauren. If I believe all the information is provided on the DCR website. If a DCR representative would like to comment on that, if not, we will have to move forward with the next participant who wishes to provide a comment during this time to the questions that we have on the whiteboard.
So I know that I see what you wrote in here. I know what the logic is, but I want to know if it's going to be changed, because obviously they excluded a lot of people by making certain assumptions about certain areas in Los Angeles. It's almost like someone who didn't live here. And also include race. Like, I don't understand how race is not a thing that's not included in this thing, because literally every other city, area, everybody else is using race because it's a race-based issue. Like, it wasn't, just poor white people getting pulled over a million, like 900 times here in LA. It was Black people, brown people. So I don't understand how that should like be in there. And like I said, considering that every other program across the nation is using race and LA is the only one is not, that's kind of insane to me. Even within California, the other state like Oakland, Long Beach, other cities are using race. I don't understand why LA is not doing that. It's almost like they're trying to, it's purposeful almost at this point.
Thank you so much for your, no, it's okay. Thank you so much for voicing your concerns and providing your comment. The point of our breakout room is to capture your comments, and so that everybody can visually see, as well as for DCR to see what are the concerns of the stakeholders in the community, and so that they themselves can review after. And then in the main breakout room, we will discuss and share with everybody to see if this is the main concerns and the main viewpoints or comments that everybody is having within the stakeholder community. So I appreciate you providing your input and your comment. Okay, we will transition to the next person. I have iPhone who has their hand raised. If you can unmute yourself. And I did see, before we progress, I did see a few people ask about how to unmute themselves. If you're using a desktop, you will click on the reactions to raise your hand. As well as on your phone, you'll be able to raise your hand. On your desktop, you have the option on the far left to unmute yourself. And then on your phone, you just click *9 to raise your hand. And then you will click *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, so we have iPhone. You have your hand raised. You have been unmuted. iPhone?
Hello, is that me?
That's Louis. I have Louis's iPhone, and then I have someone else that has iPhone. If you don't mind changing your names, because there's now 2 iPhones that have their hands raised. If you are able to change your name and rename yourself, this will make it easier for me to call on your name since you have your hand raised. So as of right now, because I cannot identify who is the difference between the 2, I will mute, and we will transition to Carmisha Foreman.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
I just have a few suggestions. I did comment during the stakeholder comment period about a number of things, and so that I don't duplicate myself, I just want to start by saying that I think that there should be another tier of the social equity application process with new amendments to who qualifies as a social equity applicant. Along with that, I think that there should be corrections to the cumulative residency in a disproportionately impacted area. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, it is difficult to live in one disproportionately impacted area for up to 10 years, especially if you are being affected by crime or the war on drugs. It is also possible to be impacted without an individual arrest. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration. There are some people who have been hit hard by the war on drugs, and they've instituted their own arrest through drug treatment facilities. And that in and of itself may have opened the door to other problems and impacted the family or home. So I think that, in limiting who qualifies based on the disproportionate areas and arrests, I don't think that the program is going to catch all of those who have potential for social equity and need such social equity benefits. And just to backtrack a little bit, I think transitional workers, if we expand equity goals or equity measures to capture transitional workers and redefine what a transitional worker is, to expand that to become so that transitional workers can become social equity workers who earn shares of the company's profits based on the receipts and hours worked. I think that would also help, capture more social equity beneficiaries in this program.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, for sharing with us your viewpoint and your comment on when it comes to these questions. I do want to ask another question on, we would like to hear from those who are currently verified as social equity applicants. How is that process for you, and how is it navigating the process? Kristen, we'll start typing that question on the whiteboard to make it easier for you all to view, and hopefully we can get some comments on those. Okay, so I have Mr. Federici. We will unmute you.
Yes, my name is Michael Federici. I'm the owner of Sunlight Medical. And we have applied and paid fees for manufacturing, distribution, and cultivation. I also have a PCN application in place, filed at 10:35 a.m. on September the 3rd of 2019. Okay. And waiting for that application to be processed as well. Okay. I've been paying lease on this property for a number of years. I'm sorry, I don't want to jump off the question. Can you just rephrase that question again?
Yes. So you just currently shared that you have various applications that you have submitted. How is navigating the process for you, if you can share with
well, because of COVID, had a few setbacks, making appointments to pay things on time. A little bit, but not much. Hard to get a little bit of feedback on, what I can do. It's not DCR's fault. I'm not an attorney, and I'm asking him or her, who may answer the phone, for advice that they're not comfortable either giving, or knowing that they're not attorneys, they don't want to give. So, everybody's at times it was a little struggle, but in the long run, I was able to do it by myself and with some great assistance from DCR. So I was relatively pleased. There was some language I didn't understand in the application process. And it was just one of those things, no matter how many times you told me, I wasn't grasping it. So this is why I think I have property, have paid the fees. I think at this time is where to spend the money where it's going to impact the most. The little money that's available would definitely impact in such areas as legal matters. To get this process done, so I can stop paying rent on property I'm going to lose if I can't get this going. And it's, everybody really thinks they're doing their best, and everyone is. But it's just the process is so long, especially now with the virtual licensing and this, that, and the other because of COVID. Man, we're at a time where people got to just get out, make phone calls, and do footwork and get this stuff done. Because I can't, I'm going to lose 10,000 square feet. I've invested in this property for 5 years now. And, the landlord's fed up, and he should be. But he's willing to stick it out a few more months. And, I'm just hoping now that we're in this transition, no matter what, I should, people, when you get to this point, DCR should definitely have a team member come up. Okay, what do you need to get to the final stage? What can we do to help you?
Thank you so much. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Federici, for just providing your input on how this process has been for you. I do see quite a few hands raised when it comes to this prompt. We will be allowing you all to answer. I do want to remind you all that we do have other prompts that we want to discuss after this, and I appreciate you all sharing your comments and providing your input, and as well as sharing your process and how this has how you've been experiencing navigating the process, or what it means to be social equity, or who you believe should be a social equity applicant. So we will transition to Miss Joey. You are the next person.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my concerns have been with the verification part of the social equity process. I have an arrest. I also I have a low income, which I also would get into your question where it says, can people provide regarding eligibility? I think those two elements should be the first and foremost, just because they kind of correlate hand in hand and they're most directly related to the whole idea behind the social equity program. And that's to fight the war on drugs. Obviously, people who've been incarcerated or who have had any kind of arrest have been through the court system, have had time taken away from them because they're going through that system. And that results in little income, not only for that year, but for the years subsequent. So, I mean, you could verify those pretty easily, those two things. One would be obviously with the paperwork from the courts, as well as the IRS income for the last, you could even put the last 4 years. But I think that those applicants or that area should at least be open for verification, so we could at least start the whole social equity process. There was a mistake that I made in 2019, and so I've been waiting since then to get back in. But that's basically it. I think that those two are the most important, mostly directly correlated with the war on drugs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy, for providing your input. I hope you all can see the whiteboard and see just the overall encompassing comments. We want to get the main points of your comments, and if they are connected, we will rephrase so that we can get the overarching comments of you all, since we want to make sure that we capture as many as we can before we transition to the next prompt. Okay, so we have Mr. Lewis's, you have your hand raised. We will unmute you. Lewis's iPhone.
Yes, thank you so much. This is an experiment, and really the world is watching Los Angeles and what Los Angeles does with social equity, because this is the biggest market in the world. And no one has a bigger investment in it than the social equity applicants. Yet we're really not at the table. You cats have created a bureaucracy, and none of us are at the table. And what you should do is you should have the stakeholders at the table with you, because we're the only ones that all 1,600 are valuable to us. To you guys, you're giving us an opportunity to win or lose. But to us, it's imperative that all of us win. This is an experiment. And so we want number one to win and 1,600 to win. And so if you put us at the table, we'll be able to get with the first 100, the first 200, find out exactly what they need to succeed. You guys are saying, we're giving you the opportunity and then watching us fail. So put us at the table. We're the ones that are invested in this. You guys are just creating a bureaucracy to make money. And I'm not mad at you, but the stakeholders should be at the table. And then we could talk to each individual applicant, find out what they need in the incubator that we create for them, lawyer, money for rent, whatever they need, we can find out. And then we can say, it may take $12 million to get the first 100 in. Well, then the city would see exactly what it would need, and then we move forward. But you guys don't have us at the table. You just have us kind of set up to fail. Thank you.
Louis, before we lose you, can you clarify on when you mean at the table? What does that mean to you?
You're going to have us in the room with you. Nobody in that room with you right now is an applicant. And you've been at all of the meetings because I've seen you at some of the social equity meetings. And so you know the people that are invested in it. And so you have to bring some of those people in with you, and then create a program to where they will be able to contact all the applicants from 1 to 200. Let's get them in. Find out exactly what they need. Then we would be the mediator between you and the applicants.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lewis, for just for the clarification, and so that we can add that to our whiteboard. Appreciate it. We will now transition. Let me mute you. To the iPhone we have your hand is raised. You may need to click *9. No, sorry, *6 to unmute yourself. iPhone, there we go.
Yes, my name is Darwin Butler again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. Would you like for me to read the prompts again, or would you like to?
I wanted to go off the cuff and just say that I think that you all should have some sort of, not so much as a hierarchy, but like you said, like the guy said earlier, if you have a conviction, the things that initially got you in the program, we are the ones being harmed. The licenses that you all are giving out are going to people who was already in business. They got grandfathered in. Then the money that we got, I understand you all got to take a 10% administrative fee or whatever, but $12 million should be distributed equally amongst 1,600. Now, originally it was 800, of which 200 got early access to the portal. So my number is 475. So if you exclude them 200, I'm number 275. I think you all should individually get us with somebody in the office to work with us, give us lists of 420 friendly landlords so that you all can help us get in business. I think individually you should work with each and every individual applicant. That's why you call it individually social verified applicant. Work with each one, find out exactly what they need, appropriate the funds accordingly to get everyone in business. I don't know why it's so hard to do that. Or at least come up with a list of 420 friendly landlords that's going to rent to us at a decent price. I'm talking they want $5,000 to get in. They want $10,000, $5 to get in and $5 for a deposit. That's $10,000 for 1 month. I mean, and then I ain't supposed to have no previous sales. I don't know how none of these people paying $2,000, $5,000 rent for 2 years ain't making no money. So, I mean, out the building, I don't know where they get that kind of money from, because I ain't got that kind of money, because one of the requirements was you also was low income. Income convictions, not because you owned a home in the 943. You ain't low income, you a homeowner. Target the people who this program was created for. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much. We need to transition to the next prompt. I thank you all for sharing your comments on this first prompt, and I will now pass it back to DCR for to talk about the next prompt.
Okay, let's talk about application processing. Verified social equity applicants receive certain benefits related to application processing. When certain requirements are met, they are eligible for priority access to retail and delivery licenses, priority license application processing, priority license renewal processing. As such, individuals who are currently verified can participate in the following: priority application processing for manufacturing, distribution, and testing, retail PCN, exclusive delivery application processing, and those are the three. So if you are currently verified as a social equity applicant, you have access to licensure through priority processing. DCR will be sharing additional information about getting verified based on the expanded criteria, either for Phase 3, Retail Round 2, or other available programming. One thing to note, though, is priority processing is different from expedited processing. Although the code allows for expedited processing, should the department launch it, DCR has decided not to go this route for social equity applicants, as this would create yet another pipeline in which applicants could potentially be held up in. All right, NBI, let's engage in conversation about application processing.
Okay, thank you so much. Meanwhile, the whiteboard is being shared right now. Again, the next a few prompts will help us focus on application processing for social equity program applicants. So let's talk or let's chat about license exclusivity. Should license exclusivity, meaning only certain applicants can apply for certain delivery and retail licenses, be extended beyond 2025? Should the city expand exclusivity to additional license types? If you are a social equity applicant, why or why haven't you applied for specific licenses with exclusivity? For example, delivery. And lastly, what additional license types would you like to see? In the whiteboard, we will provide an overarching of these prompts that will help us in conversation. And if we are ready, we can start unmuting people. Kristen, let me know if you need an additional time or we can start unmuting.
You can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So we have Amy. If you can please unmute yourself.
Okay. Hi. I can't see me, but okay. So I have two things. One about the first thing. I'm sorry about. Okay, I am a social equity applicant through my partner who has the felony. I'm the one with the money in the business, right? So I feel like, you know, anyway, I'm feeling a little hurt here because I'm white. So second of all, that should not be the case, right? Second of all is I think that the first 1,600 that we had applicants that are social equity applicants that fit the criteria are the ones that should be moving forward. We are the ones, and I, who spent 1.5 years before the deadline looking for a social equity applicant to be tier 1. I spent 1.5 years searching, trying to find someone. And I met the deadline a month, it was really about 6 weeks before the deadline. I actually found someone. And then we applied as the social equity. And now all of a sudden you're opening it up to more people because I don't know, it feels like me because you want to allow more big business to try and come in or to give them more time to find a tier 1 applicant for people who didn't, right? And so that really upset me because I did the work, right? And social networking and everything. And I feel like now we're going to open this up to 5,000 more people, who knows, when you do it, when us 1,600 all did the work to start with. So we're the ones that should be, you know, moving forward. That's how I feel. Second of all, also with holding on to only having, I think, 3 shops that have temporary licenses out of the 200 that were, quote, chosen. And then only 70 some others who even started the process out of that 200. And so you've got somewhere around 120 people over the last 1.5 years who haven't done a thing. When is that going to end and move on? For the people who are further down the list, right? So we're down the list and we're down here waiting, not just for the next, you know, tier or, you know, drawing, right? We're here waiting. Why are they giving this 1.5 years not to do anything? So I think that we need to think about a deadline and move forward. And either they're going to meet the deadline and meet the criteria and start a process, or move on down so the rest of the people on the list can start, right? So that is, at the moment, what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amy, for providing your comments. We will lower your hand now. I do see Miss Kimberly, you've been waving your hand. Let us unmute you.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I do. I agree with with her that we've been in this for a while. At least I've been in for 3 years. And the process is long. The things that were guaranteed has not been done. The process is very slow. This is like my third Zoom, and I don't feel like I'm any further than I was 3 years ago. So I think that what she said is exactly correct, that the people that have more knowledge or more insight, and I hate to say it, the outside pillow talk, will prevail. And we won't, because we weren't provided with the information. I'm going to keep it short. That's basically all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to confirm, so you are saying that it should not be extended with the first prompt that we have, the licenses should not be extended beyond 2025. Is that correct?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the people who qualified when it first started, you guys had wrinkles. Okay, so we bared through that, because from what I'm hearing, they've been in it as long as I have. So it's just come to the point to where I'm getting the emails and like, okay, I was frustrated the first time. I was frustrated the second time. So I'm just going to sit down and really figure out why I'm so frustrated and why we can't prevail when, you guys took our private information. You guys took copies of our taxes and everything. And we're just sitting here while other people are progressing and prevailing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Sochi, is there any new comments that are different from what is on the whiteboard in the chat before we transition to somebody else that has their hand raised?
So we do have an edit for the whiteboard that says it needs to say social equity landlord friendly and limit the amount of leasing to a city's specified amount.
Thank you so much.
Sochi, that's for the last prompt?
No, it looks like it might be for the one in blue.
The previous, so
let's see.
Thank you so much. Is there any other new comments in the chat box that are different from what is already on the whiteboard?
We can also add offer cultivation licenses for social equity applicants.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. We will transition to CTG. You have not had the opportunity to comment.
Hello, hi, thank you. I guess I have a couple comments for different categories. I'll start with the cultivation license because you're on that one right now. And to have a kind of like a period or exclusive period similar to the delivery and retail licenses. And I'm not sure, and then onto that issue as well, the retail licenses, whether it should be extended. I think it might still be too early to tell. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't, but to maybe keep a closer eye on it before you make a call. I mean, you can make an argument in both directions, I think, at this point. And seeing how what we've currently done pans out a little longer, I think would be much more informative before, this actually was decided on. Also, as a current verified social equity applicant, this is the question in the top right-hand corner. In terms of the process, the navigating it has some issues when it comes to finances and real estate. I can't think we've heard all those as well tonight. I just wanted to echo that. Even if you have both, then there's a difficulty in just finding a property. And even the landlord part, if you wanted to purchase a property, finding a property to purchase is equally as difficult. So that just extends the timeline of being able to submit a license for putting all those pieces together.
Mr. CTG, thank you so much for the comments for the previous prompt. We do want to focus just so that we can transition. We do have 4 other prompts and we want to make sure we stay on topic. So I want to transition your comments to the current topics in orange, which are the ones about should the license exclusivity for certain delivery and retail licenses be extended beyond 2025? Should the city expand exclusivity to additional licensee types? And what type of licenses would you like to see? Those are just some of the prompts if you want to just add a few comments so that we can capture them and then we can transition to the next prompt.
Gotcha. And I guess you got the one about the exclusivity. I think we should expand the exclusivity to additional license types as well, such as cultivation.
Okay. I believe Kristen has already captured it. She put it in blue, but she will be able to transition that to in orange.
Thank you. And then in terms of why we haven't applied for other licensure, I think just logistically, it was out of the purview. However, once logistically it becomes more reasonable, I think that it would open back up as something we would want to apply for. But the first one was the manufacturing and distribution seemed to be a better area to focus our intention, finances, and efforts.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to give a moment to Kristen just to be able to move your comments to the appropriate area before we transition. We are speaking pretty fast, so we want to make sure that we capture the comments as best as possible on the whiteboard so that we can present it in the end. And just as also the DCR will be presenting this in the virtual meeting room as well, and in the reports. So we want to make sure that we capture as best as possible everybody's comments. Kristen, let me know if once you're ready, we can transition to the next prompt.
I'm all set. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Okay. Thank you so much, CTG, for your comments. We will mute you now and we will transition to DCR now.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on to business licensing and compliance assistance. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about business licensing and compliance assistance, or BLC, the BLC program. Business license and compliance assistance, the program will provide social equity applicants with programming and training in the areas of state and local licensing requirements, commercial cannabis regulations, general business development, and cannabis-specific business development, along with workforce development. DCR has selected 5 vendors who will develop this curriculum. We are actively working with our vendors to create the curricula with an expected rollout this summer. This will be the first iteration of the program that will be expanded over the coming year. And if you have specific feedback or recommendations about the programs and policies, please submit them through the Spark comment box. But for now, let's talk about business licensing and compliance assistance.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We will now start the whiteboard. Great. Okay. So before we open it up for discussion and for you all to share your comments, again, I do want to reassure you all that your comments are being captured on the whiteboard as well as in the reports for DCR. So feel free, if you feel comfortable, you can turn on your camera. If that helps you with the discussion, you can raise your hand. And we will unmute you. If you're calling by the phone, you just need to click *9 and you can raise your hand that way. And then once I call upon you, you will just need to click *6 and you will be able to unmute yourself. Okay, so the next question or the next prompt is centered around business licensing and compliance assistance. So just a few prompts just to help the conversation. What programming would you like to see from the business licensing and compliance program? And should it be throughout the entire process, from interest to starting a business to opening and managing that business? Do you want to have BLC programming before or during the application process? And how do you learn best? Do you learn best through on-demand videos, live workshops, self-guided learning, or a combination of all three? My apologies. And how much time would you devote to certain BLC programming, if provided? Okay, so we are going to open it up now for comments regarding the business licensing and compliance assistance prompt. Okay, I see that Mr. Federici has his hand raised. If you can please unmute yourself.
Okay. My hand was raised for the previous one, actually, but what was the? Can you have somebody else go first? I'll raise my hand later.
Of course. Thank you for your time. Okay, we have Miss Kimberly. Give me 1 second. Let me just lower his hand. Okay, Miss Kimberly, if you can unmute yourself.
Okay. In filling out the application, can you fill out the application without having the actual storefront?
I'm sorry, Miss Kimberly, right now it's not a time to answer questions. It's a time to capture your comments regarding these prompts on feedback you wish to provide to the DCR. So some of the prompts as shared on the whiteboard is what type of programming would you like to see from the BLC program, and should it be throughout the entire process? Should the BLC programming be before or during the application process? Those are just a few of the prompts.
I'm sorry, before and during.
Before and during. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Kimberly, for providing your input. Okay, do you have any other input or comments before we transition to somebody else?
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I see iPhone, your hand is raised. We will unmute you. If you are calling from your phone, you need to click *6. Thank you.
Yes, I would, regarding the business, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, regarding the business license and compliance assistance, I would like to have what it says, learn about how to raise startup capital. I would like I said, I think you all should work individually with each applicant. Call them, you got our numbers, you got our emails, assign us with some liaison that'll work with the organization. I need to learn about learning how to raise the startup capital, but I need 420 landlords. Provide a list. When you say business license, compliance, assistance, provide a list to help us get in bid, to give us landlords. Can you all do that? Or are you all anticipating doing any of that? You had 2 or 3 people who were supposed to be mentors to us. I mean, is any of that going to happen? Can you all provide any list of 420 landlords? What's going on with business, helping us with the business part of it? That's part of it. So is any of that coming down the pipeline or what?
Thank you so much for your comment. Right now, we want to gather your comments when it comes to the process and the program in itself, and just to receive like what type of program would you like to see, and should it be throughout the entire process? Do you want it to be before or after the application process? Or if you want to share how you best receive this information, that will help the DCR when it comes to the programming on this program. So
yes, but providing live workshops and videos. If you all could do that, well, we could once again, they lifting the COVID restrictions. If you all could once again start providing us where we could come in there live, I think that will help us a lot.
Thank you so much for your comment. We greatly appreciate it, and we are capturing that right now. Okay, we will mute you now. We will transition to Lewis's iPhone. We will unmute you, and if you can please provide your comments on the prompts that are on the whiteboard, we would greatly appreciate it.
I believe, I can't remember the year, but you guys
created an incubator program that you said that was going to be for 3 years to mentor each applicant from the beginning to the end for 3 years, provide them with assistance of money and everything. So you guys had the idea at the beginning of what the social equity applicant was going to need just because of where we're starting from. But some kind of way, it got lost in the shuffle, the incubator program that you guys said you were going to create. So all you guys have to do is do what you said you were going to do. Get the incubator program for 3 years for everybody, and let's move forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lewis, for providing that. And we are capturing that comment on the programming you wish to see or you wish for them to restart. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have iPhone, your hand is raised. Oh, I see 2 iPhones. Let me, the first iPhone was you called by phone. So let me lower your hand. You already provide your comment. So the next iPhone, we will ask to unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? I believe you're on desktop. It does not show that you are on your phone. We will try to unmute you one more time. And if we cannot unmute you, we will transition to the next person. Okay. We have Mr. Michael Federici. You have a comment about these prompts on the whiteboard. We will unmute you now. And I do want to ask all those that are in the room, feel free to raise your hand if you have any comments when it comes to these prompts. That is why we do have the breakout rooms to capture your comments and make sure that DCR is listening to what you are sharing, as well as so they can provide this in their report at the end. And if you have any comments that you wish, or any thoughts when it comes to these prompts to help facilitate the conversation, we are here to capture those and help. Okay, so Mr. Federici, we will unmute you and then we will transition to Citlali Flores.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
So yes, on the extension of the participants of the social equity extended, sure, why not? But please, let's focus on the people who are ready right now and that have leases in zoned properties. You should have a quick list of criteria where DCR agents can see, okay, he's got this, and that. Okay, let's focus on him. Let's get him through the hoops and let's get them on their way. Like I said, that'd be a great help. Could eliminate a lot of the illegal advice. We could eliminate lawyers out of the picture if we just have one-on-one relationship with DCR. The paperwork is not all that difficult. You just have to know terminology and whatever. If you have to be knowledgeable with computers and know what you're doing. It's not that big of a deal. So if we could work one-to-one, that would be great. So if you have this, if you have the lease, you have all the criteria, you're tier 1 social equity, you're already there. So why do I got to wait another year to get up and running? It makes no sense. And this is where the people who don't have huge companies behind them are finding it impossible to advance in any nature. I mean, it feels like you're being crushed under the weight. So I know you want to do social equity, but by example and the way it's set up, the only ones who could survive are multi-million-dollar corporations. We're buying out social equity applicants.
Thank you so much, Mr. Federici. I have been told that we have 2 minutes left in the breakout rooms. So I do want to transition to the next question. I do appreciate everybody who has raised their hands to be able to participate in the comments. So we do have to transition to DCR to start the next prompts. Thank you all.
Thank you. So we're going to combine a couple of prompts, and we're going to call this the financial section. So first, fee deferral program and the fee waiver program. And then we're going to talk about the seed grant program. So in April 2021, City Council approved DCR's rules and regulations for the fee deferral and fee waiver program. To date, DCR has made $250,000 available to verified social equity applicants through the fee deferral program. It defers the payment of certain fees. The fee deferral program allows DCR to defer applicants' temporary approval fees for new applicants, except for those in Phase 3 Retail Round 1, meaning Round 2 applicants, delivery applicants, Phase 3 non-retail processing. These funds have already been dispersed, and additional fee deferrals will be made available as resources allow. For the fee waiver program, these funds are waived and they do not need to be paid back. For the fee waiver program, DCR will make an additional $650,000 available for fee waivers. Fee waivers may be applied only to social equity applications, eligibility verification fees for individuals who submit a complete eligibility verification application. And we're going to have more details about that. And then we have the seed grant program. The City of Los Angeles is funding a seed grant program using $6 million from the Cannabis Equity Grant for local jurisdictions. We've deployed 2 buckets for the grant, $5 million seed for seed 1.0 and $1 million for seed 2.0. Seed 1.0 grants $25,000 each to LA Phase 3 Retail Round 1 social equity individual applicants, and Seed 2.0 utilizes $1 million of the $6 million for up to $10,000 to each verified social equity applicant in 2 disbursements. I'm so anxious to get to some comments, so I'm just going to say, MBI, go ahead and take it away so we can get some feedback about financials.
Okay, thank you so much. We will have 2 questions on the whiteboard. The time is limited, so we will limit you all to I believe we should do like about 30 seconds. I do apologize. Just the time is going really fast. Thank you all for sharing your comments. You can put them in the chat box so we can capture them as well if you are unable to speak. Okay, so the first question that we're going to ask is, do you think social equity applicants should have their fees deferred, such as paid back over time or completely waived? And the last one is, what would you as a stakeholder recommend that the city do to decide which social equity applicants should be prioritized for the distribution of funding? Those would be the 2 questions. And we will ask Lali Flores to unmute.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Good evening.
I'm not sure what BLC is, but under a program that I would like to see.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Sitlali. Right now we are on the prompts of the social equity applicants should have their fees deferred completely. Or should the ones in red. If you can just provide a quick comment on that so we can hear all those that have their hands raised. Thank you.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, obviously, they should be waived. Not only that, like we should, they should be getting reparations for time incarcerated and whatnot. So I think a fund should be established for that, and a dollar amount should be if not doled out, maybe not doled out individually, but it could be applied towards towards setting up a business and whatnot.
Okay. Thank you so much. Do you have a quick comment on when it comes to which social equity applicants should be prioritized for the distribution of fundings?
Yeah, people with records, low income, and if you could add the third, and if you lived in the community, then that that could be added on there as a third, possibly.
Okay, Thank you so much, Mr. Sitlali. We are quick on time, so let me transition to the next person. Thank you so much for providing your comments.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Joey. If you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I agree with the last person who spoke completely, 100%. Basically, that it should be prioritized for low income, but most importantly, previously incarcerated or convicted or arrested for cannabis, because once again, that is the whole purpose of the war on drugs. And I believe that it also should be that some of those funding should be issued towards people being verified with those same first primary reasons, the one being low income and then two being convicted, or vice versa, obviously. But I think that there should be priority in those in all aspects of funding, fees, and all that stuff. That those are the two primary features on the war on drugs, and they go hand in hand more than anything else.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We literally have 10 seconds. So if somebody has a 5-minute comment, and Tume, if you have a 5-second comment, sorry, so we can add in and then we can save these whiteboards.
Recording in progress.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are finishing up our breakout rooms, and I know people are slowly starting to fall back into the session. I will say what I was trying to say to room one really quickly was thinking about even what we had to say. What did
Recording stopped.
Okay, thanks. Thinking about what we were talking about, just how would you divide and distribute those funding?
Recording in progress.
Sorry, guys, that's happening. But really quickly, what I want to do is ask one quick question based on what we were talking about tonight. Which of the following topics would you be interested in getting additional information on? And I want to leave this up for a minute really quickly. Then we're going to run through some quick Spark updates, and then we will bring MBI back up to do a quick share for 2 to 3 minutes each. And then we'll close out. But I do want to know, because again, as you heard, BLC programming is currently being formed, and we want to hear from you guys. So knowing what you guys need more information about helps us. And I know we got some really great information in the breakout room. So again, right now we're asking, which topics would you like to receive more information about? Please select all that may apply. Individual eligibility verification, entity level verification, all of those application processes. I don't think invoicing is on there. Other local permitting requirements, state licensing process, business development, payroll, inventory management or insurance, employee recruitment, funding and capital acquisition, or marketing and branding. And so I'm going to give it like 10 more seconds or so, but it slowed down. So it looks like people have been submitting, and we are still getting a few more people in. So please indicate which topics you would like to receive more information on. And so let's go ahead and end this. And I'm going to share the results. And so it looks like by far, business development is the number one thing that people would like more information about. Business development, followed by what looks like application processing, and then followed behind fundraising and capital acquisition and state licensing process. So good to know. Again, keep following the website. We will be launching PLC programming this summer. And I do want to give a quick reminder that DCR and Elevate Impact LA will be hosting a seed grant program lunch and learn. They'll be able to walk you through those actual documents, so you don't have to utilize another party. They will be walking everybody through the actual documents needed for the application for the seed grant program application. It's this Thursday from 12 to 1:30 p.m. You can go on Elevate Impact LA to apply for the grant program, or cannabis.lacity.org under the Seed Grant Program tab or menus selection in order to RSVP. You might have gotten an email as well if you're a verified social equity applicant, so check your emails as well.
Next Spark session is our last Spark session. Sadly, we will have, it's this Saturday, June 12th. The stakeholder comment period will be from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So any thoughts or feedback you have, especially from tonight's session that you might want to give or weren't able to get in, please make sure you leave that. Come and join us this Saturday from 9 to 10 and leave those comments. And then we'll be speaking and having the session from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And again, it will be on community impact. So we look forward to seeing you there. The virtual meeting room is still open. As we mentioned, it has the past sessions and information, including information on the surveys that we currently have up. Those 2 surveys will be available through June 30th. And then the Spark comment box, which will be available through June 30th as well. Any comments you have, again, that you might not have been able to get out tonight, drop them in the comment box. There's no limit on how many comments you can leave. Drop them all. The more, the merrier, the better. And so now I'm going to bring up MBI to present some of the whiteboards and the learnings that we got from today's Spark session. Pamela, are you ready for room 1?
Yes, if Laura will be bringing the board up momentarily. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. So I'll be brief because I know that our time is limited, but here are some of the comments that were made pertaining to the various topics. So social equity program eligibility verifications. In our room, some of the things that were brought up were include extended family in tier 3, take care of pre-qualified applicants first, make cooperative licensing available as an opportunity for the new tier 3, and revisit already verified candidates to help with the process. Under licensing exclusivity, extend beyond 2025 due to current delays, expedite for social equity, provide education on the process, and staff specifically designated for that got covered up. Thank you. Staff specifically designated for social equity program. On business licensing and compliance, guide applicants from start to finish, learn how to raise startup capital, general business management, business law learning opportunities via workshops and resources, and provide a case manager and resources to help applicants be successful, as in pro bono attorney, financial resources. And then I think we had a second page. And lastly, financial assistance. We did a basic hand raising in our room, and the majority wanted to have a fee waiver program versus a fee deferral program. Free fee deferral for all convicted felons, access to startup business fundraising skills, and pour resources into grants. Grants allow more flexibility. And now I'll pass it on to Ms. Roman.
Thank you. Kristen, can you share the whiteboard? Thank you so much. So we were able to ask 3 of the prompts in our room. So for the first question or the first topic, this is just in blue. So some of the main comments that were made, which is with the check mark, is the equity for incarcerated individuals and low income. That is where they want to provide feedback on the other eligibility criteria and who they should consider. So that was the main topic that was shared. As you can see, there was more comments that were shared, such as more stakeholder social equity applicant inclusivity and include applicants in the meetings. The individuals in breakout room 2, they all have shared that they wish to be at the table and participate in the conversations. So I would transition now to the prompt in orange. And so some of the main topics that were shared were such as, should license exclusivity, that question, should it be extended? Most of the applicants agreed, most of the stakeholders in breakout room agreed that it should not be extended. They want the focus to be on the first round of applicants before you extend it, before DCR extends it. And they should focus on the first 1,600 applicants before moving forward. That was the consensus in breakout room 2. And then we will transition to the second page which is we combined prompts 4 and 5. So the first one was, what would you, as a stakeholder, recommend that the city do to decide when it comes to social equity applicants and who should be prioritized? And the room agreed that it should be low-income individuals, previously incarcerated, convicted, arrested, should be the ones that are prioritized when it comes to funding. And then for the next prompt, which is the social equity applicants and who should have their fees deferred or completely waived. And the consensus was that, yes, they should be waived, and reparations for incarcerated individuals should have their applications waived. Thank you.
So again, I just want to thank everyone for joining tonight's Spark session and for their continued participation in the Spark sessions. I know that we had a very robust conversation in my breakout room. I'm very much looking forward to being able to work with MBI as these different recommendations or the analysis happens of the different recommendations that have been made to date. As mentioned, our last Spark session is going to be this Saturday, so we hope that folks who are on today's call are able to join us for this last Spark session. But I want to articulate to folks that, and I think it was raised by one of the stakeholders, this is just one process by which we are seeking to get input from stakeholders to inform our process. We recognize that there will be a closing date to the Spark initiative, and so we want to make sure that there continue to be additional forums for us to continue these conversations. We're looking forward to having conversations about what those forums could look like on an ongoing basis, in particular at the next Spark session. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing everyone soon. This will conclude this afternoon's Spark session.